I think the reception was always warm. I wouldn't say it was overly friendly. The guys had their golf groups that would go off and golf on a regular basis, and I can't say that I've ever been invited to go golfing. But you know, events would take place, and I was included in those events, and you were brought in those events. I always remember my first Nick's back room experience, where there was this technical group that would bring wines. We'd sit down, we'd taste the wines, and then we'd have lunch. And I walked into Nick's, and I'm just like, ooh, where do you sit? You know, because all these guys are all together, and they're all very comfortable with each other, and I'm the young woman. I'm 26, walking into this room of men. And I think if it hadn't been for like Terry Castile and Ted Castile, who embraced me and to this day are our closest friends in the industry, I don't know exactly how I would have maybe navigated those waters. They introduced me to a lot of people, made sure that I was comfortable and taken care of. I mean, even to this day, Ted makes sure, like, we'll be in an event and Ron's not there, and Ted worries that, you know, Ron's not there, I need to make sure that Lynn's comfortable. So I have to love him for that. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you feel you had to prove yourself? And then, Ron, I'd love to hear your perspective as her partner on this.
Yeah, I think that I worked harder and maybe spoke up a little louder just to make sure that my voice was heard. I think I was laughing because Louisa Ponzi once said that Lynn Penner-Ash, she's so strong, you know, and I didn't know whether that was a positive or a negative. And so I confronted her on once. I says, what do you mean by that? And she goes, well, I used to find you kind of aggressive, but now having taken over the realm of my parents' winery, I realized that women have to be much more aggressive to be able to get what they need to get done. And so she now recognized that as a strength rather than a negative. But at the time, it was interpreted as a negative. And so that was kind of a little eye-opening that, you know, people thought of me being a little more aggressive than maybe I thought I was, but just trying to achieve things. I felt like I was constantly having to put myself out in positions that weren't necessarily comfortable, but I felt I needed to do that because I was representing a brand and I was trying to make the best possible wine I could.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think, you know, Lynn is so close to it that sometimes she doesn't see the respect or feel the respect, and that's human nature. And so I've often, you know, been in a room and it's quite obvious that, you know, that respect flows to Lynn naturally. You know, in a difficult vintage or a challenging vintage, the phone, you know, rings off the hook because they know Lynn's technical background, they know that she understands Oregon viticulture, she doesn't panic, and very detail oriented, as we've discussed earlier. So that's an industry-wide respect, and sometimes you're harder on yourself than, you know, others around you. And so I think that she's essentially carved a position here that's somewhat iconic in the industry. You know, it's 28 years in Oregon, and that
It's almost 29.
Almost 29, yeah. So there aren't very many people that can claim that. But it can, and it goes back to the issue of you know, a woman versus a man in a position of I guess decision making. You know, we're often we're harder on women than we are men. Men can get away with a lot. And so I think sometimes the perception is that Lynn is very, you know, focused and very direct, where, you know, a guy can get away with that. We're much more judgmental with women. But I think we've gotten beyond that. You know, in the industry, I think it's evolved to the point now where there are so many women, because of Lynn, that are now integrated into the industry. And I guarantee if you look at, you know, the winemakers coming in, it's a higher percentage of women.